What if being broke wasn't just about how much money you make, but how you manage it? A lot of people think they're doomed financially unless they land a six-figure job or come from a wealthy family. That's the myth. The truth? You can be making $35,000 or $85,000 and still feel broke, or worse, actually be broke if you don't understand the basics of money. That's where Broke Millennial flips the script. This isn't another boring finance lecture filled with charts and jargon. It's a real talk roadmap for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by budgeting, confused by credit scores, or totally unprepared to talk money with a partner, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, juggling student loans, job changes, or just trying to adult without going broke. Whether you're an overworked professional living paycheck to paycheck, a recent college grad buried in debt, or just someone tired of feeling clueless about money, this book is your practical no BS guide to finally getting your financial life together. You'll learn how to stop feeling ashamed of your bank account, start building real wealth, and make money moves with confidence, from budgeting and saving to investing and negotiating your worth. So, ready to stop scraping by and start thriving financially? Let's get started. Chapter 1. Money isn't the worst. Seriously, let's be honest. Money can feel like a monster hiding under the bed. It makes people anxious, embarrassed, and even ashamed. And the moment we start talking about it, the mood changes. But Erin Lowry kicks things off by tackling that fear head-on. She's not here to shame you or throw around Wall Street lingo. She's here to say, hey, you're not alone, and it's not as scary as it seems. The first chapter is all about unpacking the emotional baggage we carry around money. And trust me, most of us have it. Whether you were raised in a home where money was always tight, or one where it was never talked about, those early experiences shape how you deal with money today. Erin shares her own story, growing up with financially savvy parents who expected her to be responsible early on. That meant paying for her own clothes in high school and learning how to negotiate her cell phone bill as a teenager. But she also understands that not everyone had that kind of head start. And that's her point. Your past doesn't have to define your financial future. Erin breaks down the fact that money isn't just math. It's emotion. It's tied to our identity, our relationships, and our sense of security. That's why so many people avoid facing it. It feels too personal, too vulnerable. But she flips that mindset. Instead of dreading money, she wants us to feel empowered by it. Because the truth is, once you take control of your money, you start to take control of your life. She introduces the idea that becoming financially stable isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. You don't need to suddenly become a budgeting genius or an investing expert. You just need to start paying attention. The real transformation begins the moment you stop ignoring your bank account and start owning your decisions. One of the standout points in this chapter is Erin's focus on financial literacy as a form of self-care. Think about that. We spend so much time taking care of our physical health, going to the gym, eating better, drinking more water. But when it comes to our financial health, we often pretend it doesn't exist until there's a crisis. She makes the case that managing your money is just as essential as managing your physical and mental health. Because money affects everything, from your stress levels to your sleep to your ability to plan your future. She also introduces what she calls money scripts. These are the subconscious beliefs you carry about money, often picked up in childhood. Maybe you believe money is evil, or that you'll never have enough, or that talking about money is taboo. These scripts play in the background of your brain, influencing your behavior without you even realizing it. Erin challenges you to identify your money script and rewrite it if it's holding you back. To make things real, she shares examples from other millennials, people juggling student debt, unpredictable income, or the pressure to keep up appearances on social media. One woman confessed she avoided checking her bank balance for months because it gave her anxiety. Another admitted she was still living paycheck to paycheck despite getting a raise. Erin doesn't judge. She shows that these stories are common and fixable. A key takeaway in this chapter is the idea of awareness before action. You can't change what you don't understand. So Erin invites you to take an honest look at your financial habits. Are you constantly overdrafting? Are you avoiding bills? Are you afraid to talk about money with your partner or friends? Start there. Awareness is the first step to taking control. And don't worry, she's not going to make you give up your daily coffee or avocado toast. Erin isn't about deprivation. She's about conscious spending. It's not what you spend. It's how and why you spend it. If something brings you joy and fits within a budget that works for you, go for it. But if you're spending out of habit or pressure, it might be time to check yourself. She wraps the chapter by setting the tone for the rest of the book. Personal finance doesn't have to be boring, confusing, or shame-filled. It can be practical, empowering, and even kind of fun. Because once you stop fearing money, you start seeing it as a tool, not a burden, a tool to help you build the life you want. So if you've ever thought, I'm just not good with money, Erin wants you to drop that excuse. Being bad with money isn't a personality trait. It's just a skill you haven't learned yet. And guess what? You're about to. This chapter lays the foundation for what's coming next. Real strategies, honest conversations, and a whole lot of empowerment. But first, it asks you to do one thing. Stop beating yourself up and start showing up. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. And that's where change begins. Chapter 2. Is money a Tinder date or marriage material? Picture this. You're on a Tinder date. It's fun, exciting, maybe even a little impulsive, but you're not exactly thinking long-term. Now contrast that with marriage, a relationship built on commitment, trust, and shared goals. That's the analogy Erin Lowry uses to tackle a big question. What kind of relationship do you have with your money? In this chapter, Erin flips the script on how we view money. Most people treat their finances like a casual fling. They swipe, spend, and ghost their budget when things get uncomfortable. But if you want to build wealth, reduce stress, and feel in control, you need to think of money as a long-term partner, something or someone you commit to and grow with. She opens with a bold statement. Your financial relationship is one of the longest relationships you'll ever have. Think about that. Your money is with you from your first allowance to your final retirement check. So why treat it like a stranger? To drive the point home, Erin encourages you to reflect on your current money behavior. Are you the ghoster who avoids checking your account balance? The love bomber who splurges after every paycheck? The clingy type who panics over every transaction? Or maybe the avoidant partner who's scared to open credit card bills? By giving money personalities, Erin makes the subject funny, relatable, and deeply personal. Then she flips the question to something even more powerful. What kind of relationship do you want with your money? She reminds us that like any relationship, a good one with money requires communication, boundaries, and consistency. You have to check in regularly, even when it's uncomfortable. You have to be honest about your goals and weaknesses. And most of all, you have to show up. One of the most helpful tools Erin introduces in this chapter is the money journal. It's not about tracking every cent. It's about observing your emotional patterns with money. What triggered that online shopping spree? Why did you feel guilty after buying lunch out? What are your financial stressors? She encourages readers to write down purchases and feelings for a week. This is about awareness, not judgment. Through anecdotes, Erin shows how people's money behavior often mirrors their deeper emotional needs. One reader, for example, grew up in a financially unstable home and now hoards money to feel safe. even when it means skipping social outings and opportunities. Another reader spends impulsively to cope with anxiety, even though she knows she'll regret it later. By naming the emotional undercurrents, Erin helps readers take back control. A major theme here is money as a mirror. How you treat your finances often reflects how you treat yourself. Are you neglecting it, avoiding it, obsessing over it? Your money habits aren't just about dollars. They're clues to your mindset, your fears, your values. Erin's advice is practical but never preachy. She suggests starting with small, consistent habits. For example, log into your bank account once a day, just to get familiar with the numbers. Set a recurring calendar reminder to review your budget every Friday night. Use a note-taking app to track spending emotions in real time. These tiny rituals create a rhythm, a kind of financial intimacy that builds over time. And yes, she talks boundaries. Just like in a healthy romantic relationship, you need to set boundaries with your money. That means creating a budget that supports your values, not one that punishes you. It means saying no to things that derail your goals, even if it's uncomfortable. And it means learning to forgive yourself when you mess up, because you will. She also drops this golden line. Money can be an incredible partner in building the life you want, or a toxic one if you let it take control. That's the heart of this chapter. You don't need to fear money or worship it. You need to collaborate with it. One of the best takeaways comes toward the end. Date your money like you would someone you care about. Spend time with it. Ask questions. Plan for the future. Check in weekly. Celebrate small wins. And when things get rocky, don't ghost. Have the hard conversation. Because when you build a long-term, respectful relationship with your money, it pays off literally and emotionally. So if you've been treating your money like a one-night stand, it's time to commit. Not because it's trendy, not because someone told you to, but because your financial peace of mind is worth the effort. After all, if your money is going to be with you for life, don't you want it to be a relationship that works? This chapter isn't just about money management. It's about emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the power of intentionality. And once you stop swiping and start showing up, you'll start to see money not as your enemy, but as your most loyal teammate. Chapter 3. Do you have a gold star in personal finance? Remember back in school when getting a gold star felt like the ultimate reward? It meant you followed directions, did your homework, and showed up ready. Well, in this chapter, Erin Lowry asks a bold question. If personal finance were a subject in school, would you be earning a gold star or just faking it till you make it? This chapter is all about evaluating where you stand financially. But don't worry, there's no shaming, just some tough love and useful tools. Erin wants you to stop guessing and start knowing where you are with your money, because until you measure it, you can't manage it. She opens with a story that feels all too familiar. A friend proudly declared she was really good with money. But when Erin pressed her with simple questions, do you have a budget? How much debt do you have? Are you saving for retirement? The friend froze. Turns out she wasn't actually managing her money. She was just good at avoiding overdrafts and making minimum payments. And honestly, that's where a lot of people are stuck. Just barely staying afloat, confusing survival with success. So Erin introduces a tool to help clarify the confusion, the personal finance audit. Think of it as a money checkup, like going to the doctor for a physical. This is about figuring out where you are right now, so you can decide where to go next. She walks you through a simple but powerful set of categories, helping you assess each area of your financial life. Let's break them down. 1. Budgeting. Are you tracking your income and expenses? Do you actually know where your money goes each month, or are you just hoping it balances out? 2. Emergency fund. Do you have one? If so, how many months' worth of expenses would it cover? Erin says that even $500 is a great start, but the real goal is 3 to 6 months of living expenses. 3. Debt. What kind do you have? Credit cards, student loans, personal loans. Are you making more than minimum payments or just treading water? 4. Credit score. Do you know it? Have you checked your credit report this year? Are there any mistakes or surprises sitting in your file? 5. Savings and investing. Are you setting aside money for short-term needs? Are you investing for long-term goals like retirement, even if it's just a small amount? 6. Financial organization. Do you know how to find your bank logins, insurance info, tax returns, or account numbers in a pinch? Or is it all scattered across emails, apps, and notebooks? Erin uses these 6 categories to help readers create their own financial report card, not to judge, but to inform. She even includes a scoring system. Each area gets a rating: beginner, developing, or gold star. You're not expected to be perfect across the board, but seeing your strengths and weaknesses side by side can be a huge eye-opener. Then she goes deeper. What does a gold star in each category actually look like? For example, a gold star in budgeting means you track every expense and compare it to your goals. A gold star in debt management means you have a plan and are actively paying more than the minimum. A gold star in financial organization means all your important info is stored securely and you can access it within minutes. But Erin isn't just about listing to-dos. She shares real stories to bring it all to life. One woman, for instance, thought she was doing fine until she added up her Uber and takeout expenses and realized she was spending more than she earned each month. Another reader discovered an old collection account on their credit report that was tanking their score, simply because they never bothered to check it. These wake-up calls are uncomfortable, but necessary. Erin also points out that comparing yourself to others is a trap. Just because your friend bought a new car or your coworker is bragging about investing in crypto doesn't mean they're financially secure. They might be drowning in debt behind the scenes. Your journey is your own. And a true gold star means you're aligning your habits with your goals, not someone else's version of success. The chapter ends with a challenge. Complete your own personal finance audit. Rate yourself honestly in each of the 6 categories. Then pick just one area to focus on improving over the next month. Not 5, not all, just 1. Because small wins build momentum, and momentum builds habits. One of Erin's most powerful insights here is this: being good with money isn't about how much you earn. It's about how well you manage what you have. You can earn $40,000 a year and be thriving, or earn $120,000 and be flat broke. It all comes down to clarity, consistency, and conscious choices. So do you have a gold star in personal finance? Maybe not yet, but after reading this chapter, you'll know exactly where you stand, and more importantly, where to go next. And just like in school, gold stars aren't handed out, they're earned. Now it's your move. Chapter 4. Dealing with the dreaded B word. Ah yes, the B word. Not that one. This one's even scarier for some people. Budget. Just hearing the word makes a lot of folks cringe. It sounds restrictive, joy-killing, and let's be real, boring. But in this chapter, Erin Lowry does something refreshing. She reframes budgeting from a punishment to a permission slip for your life. She starts by acknowledging how budgeting has been sold to us, like a financial detox. Cut this, skip that, deprive yourself until you hit some magical number. But Erin's not buying it, and neither should you. Her version of budgeting is about awareness, alignment, and giving your money a job, so it works for you instead of vanishing without a trace. The first myth she busts is this: budgeting isn't just for broke people. In fact, the wealthiest, most financially secure people often have the strictest budgets. Why? Because they know where every dollar is going. Think of a budget like a GPS. You still get to choose the destination, but now you actually know how to get there. Erin then breaks budgeting into digestible pieces. First, she introduces the zero-based budget. This method ensures that every single dollar you earn is assigned a task, whether that's rent, food, savings, or fun. The goal? Your income minus expenses equals zero. Not because you spent it all, but because every dollar was intentionally allocated. For example, say you bring home $3,000 a month. You might assign $1,200 to rent, $400 to groceries, $300 to transportation, $300 to savings, $150 to dining out, $100 to entertainment, $100 to debt payments, $450 to everything else. Now, your money has a plan. And that's what budgeting is. It's planning your priorities in dollar form. But Erin knows one size doesn't fit all. She also talks about other budgeting styles like the 50-30-20 rule, 50% to needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings and debt. This is perfect for someone who doesn't want to micromanage every line item, but still wants structure. There's also the anti-budget, popularized by author Paula Pant. This one's as simple as it gets. You automatically save a set percentage of your income, then spend the rest however you want. No categories, no spreadsheets. If you save 20% right off the top, you're free to use the other 80% guilt-free. It's great for folks who hate traditional budgeting but still want to build wealth. To help you pick the right system, Erin asks a key question. How much structure do you need to feel safe, not suffocated? Because a budget should never feel like a punishment. It should feel like a reflection of your values. She also dives into practical tools. Apps like Mint, YNAB, you need a budget, and every dollar can automate your tracking. But she doesn't shame people who prefer pen and paper. In fact, she encourages you to experiment with different systems until one sticks. Don't let perfectionism kill your progress. Next up, she addresses the emotional blocks that keep people from budgeting. A big one, fear. Many avoid creating a budget because they're afraid of what they'll find. Maybe it's credit card debt. Maybe it's impulsive spending. Maybe it's the realization that you've been avoiding financial goals for years. But Erin reminds us, avoiding the truth doesn't make it go away. It just delays your growth. Another emotional block? Guilt. Erin tells the story of a woman who cried after seeing how much she spent on takeout. But instead of beating herself up, she reframed it. That $300 per month wasn't just about food. It was about convenience during her chaotic schedule. That realization helped her adjust, not eliminate, the habit. Budgeting should never be about shame. It's about alignment. If your spending isn't matching your values or goals, that's your cue, not to feel bad, but to adjust. One of the most empowering ideas in this chapter is the concept of a fun fund. Yep, Erin literally says, budgeting should include joy. Set aside money for concerts, travel, hobbies, whatever lights you up. Because if your budget doesn't allow space for fun, it's going to feel like a straitjacket, and no one sticks to that for long. She also drops one of the most relatable truths in the book. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Budgeting is that system, not a dream board, not wishful thinking. A budget is the boots-on-the-ground plan to turn your goals into reality. By the end of the chapter, Erin has completely reframed the B word. It's no longer a curse, it's a compass. Whether you want to pay off debt, save for a house, travel the world, or just sleep better at night, it all starts with giving your dollars direction. So if budgeting has ever felt like a burden, this chapter invites you to see it differently, as a tool to give you freedom, not take it away. Because when you finally take the wheel of your finances, You don't just stop crashing, you start cruising toward a life you actually want. Chapter 5. Picking the Right Financial Products, aka the chapter in which this book pays for itself. Let's face it, financial products are intimidating. Banks, apps, credit cards, checking accounts. It feels like a jungle of fine print, hidden fees, and confusing choices. But in this chapter, Erin Lowry clears the fog and hands you a compass. She helps you pick the right financial tools without falling for flashy marketing or gimmicks. And if you follow her advice, she promises this chapter alone could pay for the entire book. She opens with a simple truth. Most of us pick financial products based on convenience, not value. Think about it. How did you choose your bank? Probably because your parents used it or it had a branch near your school. But Erin says it's time to stop thinking like a passive consumer and start thinking like a smart shopper. The first product she tackles? Checking accounts. This is your money's home base, so you need it to be safe, simple, and fee-free. Erin stresses the importance of choosing a checking account with no monthly maintenance fees, no minimum balance requirements, easy mobile access and online banking, free access to a wide ATM network. She also warns about sneaky fees, like $35 overdraft charges or $3 to use an out-of-network ATM. These small fees can eat away hundreds of dollars a year. Erin shares stories of readers who didn't even realize they were paying these fees until they audited their accounts. That's why she urges readers to read the fine print before opening an account and not just trust a flashy $100 sign-up bonus promo. Next up is the savings account. Erin keeps it simple. Your checking account is for spending. Your savings account is for not spending. And while many traditional banks offer savings accounts that earn a measly 0.01% interest, she points readers to high-yield online savings accounts, which can earn 20 to 25 times more. For example, if you have $5,000 sitting in a regular savings account earning 0.01%, you'll earn about 50 cents a year, but in a high-yield account at 2%, you'd earn $100. That's free money for doing nothing. Erin says if you're going to let your money sit, at least make it earn its keep. She then dives into the world of credit cards. This section is gold. She explains that credit cards are tools, not traps, if you use them wisely. She breaks down the anatomy of a credit card, credit limit, interest rate, APR, grace period, reward structure, fees, late payment, foreign transaction, annual fees. One big takeaway: if you carry a balance, rewards don't matter. A card might give you 2% cash back, but if you're paying 20% in interest, you're losing money fast. That's why Erin insists, only charge what you can afford to pay off in full every month. Otherwise, your credit card becomes a very expensive loan. She walks you through different types of cards: cash back, travel rewards, secured cards for building credit, and helps you understand which one fits your goals. Her rule of thumb: start with a no annual fee cashback card and build from there once you've mastered the basics. Then there's the credit union versus bank debate. Erin doesn't take sides. Instead, she lays out the pros and cons. Credit unions often offer better interest rates and more personalized service, but they might lack sleek apps or national ATM networks. Big banks have convenience and tech, but usually charge more in fees and offer less interest on savings. The best fit depends on your needs. She also introduces the idea of banking for your future self. In other words, the best financial product today might not be the best one a year from now. As your income, goals, and responsibilities change, so should your financial tools. Don't be afraid to switch banks, close old accounts, or get a new credit card that better fits your lifestyle. Loyalty doesn't pay. Smart moves do. Erin rounds out the chapter with a few extra gems. Use account alerts to track spending and avoid overdrafts. Link your savings account to your checking account as overdraft protection. Automate your bill payments and transfers to savings. Set it and forget it. Don't fall for overdraft protection that charges a fee every time it kicks in. It's often a trap. One story she shares involves a guy who never paid attention to his checking account until one day he realized he'd paid nearly $400 in overdraft fees in just 6 months. That wake-up call pushed him to switch to an online bank with no overdraft fees and better notifications. It's these small changes that make a big difference. The final takeaway from this chapter is simple but powerful. You don't have to accept the financial products you were handed. You can choose better. Whether it's switching to a fee-free checking account, earning more on your savings, or optimizing your credit card rewards, these small decisions compound over time, just like your money should. And that's the heart of Erin's message here. The right financial tools don't just save you money. They build your confidence, strengthen your foundation, and put you in control. So don't settle for whatever your bank is offering. Do your research, ask questions, and make your money work harder so you don't have to. Chapter 6. Credit Reports and Scores. The Report Card for Life. Imagine applying for your dream apartment only to get rejected because of a mistake on your credit report, or trying to buy a car and getting slapped with sky-high interest rates. It all comes down to one thing: your credit score, that mysterious number most people barely understand, but which has massive power over your financial life. In this chapter, Erin Lowry turns the mystery into clarity and gives you the tools to take control of your credit story. She kicks things off with a powerful analogy. Your credit report is like a financial report card, and your credit score is the GPA. Just like in school, it tracks your performance over time. Only now, instead of math and English, you're graded on your ability to borrow money and pay it back. Here's why this matters. Whether you're trying to rent a place, get a loan, buy a house, or even apply for some jobs, your credit report is getting looked at. And while that might sound intimidating, Erin breaks it down into manageable, actionable steps. First, let's talk about what a credit report is. It's a detailed history of your credit behavior, compiled by the big 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It shows what accounts you have open: credit cards, student loans, car loans, etc. Your payment history, on time, late, or missed. How much debt you owe, your credit limits and balances. Hard inquiries. Every time someone checks your credit for a new loan or card. Collections or bankruptcies, if applicable. Erin emphasizes, this report is your financial reputation in writing, and just like a background check, it tells potential lenders if you're trustworthy. Now, your credit score is a 3-digit number derived from the info in your credit report. The most commonly used model is FICO, and the score ranges from 300 to 850. The higher, the better. Erin breaks down the 5 key components of a credit score. Payment history, 35%. This is the big one. It shows whether you've paid bills on time. A single missed payment can ding your score by 50 to 100 points. Amounts owed, 30%. This isn't just about how much debt you have. It's about how much you owe relative to your credit limit. That's called your credit utilization ratio. Keep it under 30%, ideally under 10%. Length of credit history, 15%. The longer your credit accounts have been open, the better. That's why closing old cards can sometimes hurt your score. New credit, 10%. Every time you apply for a new line of credit, there's a hard inquiry which can drop your score a few points. Too many in a short period? Red flag. Credit mix, 10%. Lenders like to see variety. credit cards, student loans, auto loans, etc. But Erin's clear: don't take on new debt just to boost this category. It's the least important of the 5. One of Erin's key takeaways here is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. Paying bills on time and keeping your balances low does more than anything else to keep your score in a healthy range. Next, Erin guides you through the process of checking your credit report, which, by the way, you can do for free at annualcreditreport.com. You're entitled to 1 free report from each bureau every year. And since there are 3 bureaus, she suggests spreading it out. Check 1 report every 4 months. Why check? Because errors happen all the time. Erin shares stories of people who found old accounts that should have been closed, incorrect late payments, entire accounts they never opened. Hello, identity theft. Fixing these errors is your right. She walks you through the dispute process, writing a letter, submitting proof, and following up. It might take time, but it's absolutely worth it to protect your credit health. She also addresses a common myth. Checking your own credit hurts your score. Totally false. That's called a soft inquiry, and it doesn't affect your score at all. So check it often. It's like checking your own grades before report card day. Another gem in this chapter is the idea of building credit when you don't have any. Erin offers smart ways to get started. Apply for a secured credit card, backed by a deposit. Become an authorized user on a responsible family member's card. Use services like Experian Boost to report rent and utility payments. And if you've had bad credit in the past, it's not a life sentence. Erin emphasizes that credit is forgiving. Negative marks like missed payments and collections drop off after 7 years, bankruptcy after 10, but positive behavior builds from day 1. So even if your score's in the basement today, it can be climbing in 6 months, with the right habits. Erin wraps up the chapter with a powerful message. Your credit score is not your worth. It's a tool. An important one, sure, but it doesn't define who you are or what you're capable of. You have the power to build it, repair it, and use it wisely. So whether you've got a glowing 800 or you're picking up the pieces from past mistakes, the game isn't over. The rules are clear, the path is simple, and the control is in your hands. Because just like any report card, it's not about the grade you have today. It's about what you do next that counts. Chapter 7. Wait, I shouldn't just pay the minimum due on my credit card? Let's say your credit card bill shows a total balance of $1,200. Below that, it says, minimum due $35. It feels like a lifeline, right? You think, great, I'll just pay that and keep the rest for other stuff. But in this chapter, Erin Lowry drops a financial truth bomb. Paying the minimum is the most expensive decision you can make. Why? Because credit cards are not free money. They're a tool, one that can work for you or trap you in a cycle of debt. And paying only the minimum due is how that trap gets tighter every month. Erin opens the chapter with a relatable scenario. You've got a bunch of expenses, rent, groceries, maybe student loans, and your credit card bill rolls in. You're short on cash, so you just pay the minimum to keep things moving. But what seems like a small, harmless delay ends up costing you hundreds, even thousands in interest over time. Here's the reality. When you only pay the minimum, you're mostly paying off interest, not the actual debt. Erin walks us through a simple example. Let's say you owe $2,000 on a credit card with a 20% APR, annual percentage rate, and you only pay $40 a month. It could take over 15 years to pay it off, and you'll end up paying around $3,800 total. That's almost double what you borrowed. So why do credit card companies make the minimum due sound like a good option? Because it's profitable for them. Interest is how they make money. The longer you're in debt, the more they earn. That's why they're totally fine with you dragging it out. But you shouldn't be. Erin breaks down how credit card interest actually works. Unlike a flat loan, credit cards compound interest daily. That means every day your balance isn't paid in full, you're racking up more charges, even on your interest from yesterday. It's like a financial snowball that grows the longer you let it roll. To avoid this trap, Erin gives a clear directive. Always aim to pay your balance in full, but if you can't, don't panic. Instead, make a real plan to tackle it, starting with stop adding new charges. If you're trying to dig out of debt, don't keep using the shovel. Figure out your interest rate. Many people don't even know what they're being charged. Look it up on your statement or app. List your balances. Know exactly how much you owe, to whom, and at what rate. Choose a payoff strategy. Avalanche method. Pay off the highest interest debt first. Mathematically, this saves you the most money. Snowball method. Pay off the smallest balances first. This gives quick wins and emotional momentum. Erin says there's no wrong answer, as long as you're being intentional. She also dives into balance transfers, where you move your debt to a new card with a 0% interest promo for 12 to 18 months. This gives you breathing room to pay off the debt without new interest piling on. But there's a catch. These offers often come with a 3 to 5% transfer fee. And if you miss a payment or don't finish paying in time, the regular interest rate kicks back in. Then there's the option of a personal loan to consolidate credit card debt. Erin explains that some people use this to trade high-interest revolving debt for a lower-interest fixed loan. But again, discipline is key. If you pay off your cards and then rack them up again, you're just doubling the problem. A major mindset shift in this chapter is that debt isn't just a math problem, it's an emotional one. Erin shares stories of people who kept paying the minimum for years because they were too overwhelmed to face the total, or others who felt ashamed and believed debt meant they were bad with money. Erin challenges that belief hard. She says debt doesn't define you. Ignoring it does. She encourages readers to forgive themselves. Maybe you overspent. Maybe you didn't know better, but now you do. And that means you can make smarter choices moving forward, like automating more than the minimum payment each month, setting up text alerts when your balance gets too high, checking in weekly on your debt reduction progress. One super practical idea Erin introduces is the debt-free date. Use an online calculator to plug in your balance, interest rate, and monthly payment. It'll show you exactly when you'll be debt-free. That date becomes your goalpost, and every payment is a step closer. She also recommends celebrating small wins. Did you pay off your first $500? Awesome. Treat yourself to something within budget, of course. These emotional rewards help you stay motivated in what can be a long, often draining process. By the end of the chapter, the message is crystal clear. Credit cards are powerful, but you have to be in the driver's seat. Paying the minimum keeps you trapped. Paying in full or more than the minimum sets you free. And freedom is what this chapter is really about. The freedom to stop living paycheck to paycheck. The freedom to stop fearing your statements. The freedom to build a financial life that moves forward, not in circles. So next time you see that minimum due box on your bill, see it for what it really is, a trap dressed as a favor, and then crush it. Chapter 8. Yikes, I already have consumer debt. What now? Debt. The word alone brings on stress, guilt, and maybe a little shame. It's like the financial equivalent of a bad tattoo. You try to hide it, pretend it's not there, but deep down, you know it's impacting your future. In this chapter, Erin Lowry meets that feeling head-on and says, okay, you've got debt. So what? Let's deal with it, without shame and with a real plan. This chapter is a lifeline for anyone who feels stuck under the weight of credit card bills, car loans, medical debt, or store financing. Erin's mission is clear: help you stop spiraling and start strategizing. And she begins with a key mindset shift. Your debt does not define your worth. You are not a bad person because you're in debt. You're just someone who made choices like every human being. Now it's time to make different ones. Erin starts by breaking down the types of consumer debt: credit card debt, high interest, revolving, and often the most dangerous if unmanaged; personal loans, sometimes used to consolidate debt, but can be just as risky if not handled wisely; medical debt, often unexpected and complicated by confusing billing systems; retail/store card debt, usually high interest and packed with fine print; buy now, pay later, BNPL plans, the newest trap, easy to access but tricky to track when you've got multiple installments running at once. She emphasizes that the first step is honesty. You can't make progress if you don't know the full picture. Erin walks you through a debt inventory. List every debt you owe. Include the total amount, interest rate, APR, minimum monthly payment, and due date. Organize it all in a spreadsheet or budgeting app. Yes, it might feel painful, but knowing your numbers is the first act of taking your power back. Then she introduces a powerful question. Why did this debt happen? Not to beat yourself up, but to understand your spending behavior. Was it emotional spending after a breakup? Was it survival mode during a job loss? Was it a slow creep of lifestyle inflation? Erin shares stories of people who got into debt for every reason imaginable and how they pulled themselves out. Next comes strategy. Erin walks you through 2 proven debt payoff methods. 1. Snowball method. Focus on paying off the smallest debt first while making minimum payments on the others. Once that one is gone, you roll the freed-up money into the next smallest. Why it works? Momentum. It's emotionally satisfying to see debts disappear. 2. Avalanche method. Focus on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first. This saves you the most money over time. Why it works? Efficiency. You stop the financial bleeding faster. Erin doesn't say one is better than the other. She says, pick the one that works for your personality. If you need quick wins to stay motivated, go snowball. If you're analytical and want to maximize savings, go avalanche. The best method is the one you'll stick to. She also breaks down debt consolidation, explaining when it makes sense. If you're juggling multiple credit cards with high interest rates, consolidating them into a personal loan with a lower, fixed interest rate can be a smart move. But, and this is key, only if you stop using the credit cards afterward. Otherwise, you just double your debt load. Another tool Erin explores is balance transfers, moving your credit card debt to a new card with a 0% APR promotional period. This gives you a window to pay down debt interest-free. But she adds a warning. Many people fall into the trap of only paying the minimum during the promo period, then getting slammed with interest when the clock runs out. Make a payoff plan and stick to it if you go this route. She also covers the option of working with a credit counselor. A good nonprofit credit counseling agency can help you set up a debt management plan, DMP, negotiate with creditors, and give you structure. But beware of shady debt settlement companies that promise to wipe away your debt for a fee. They often leave people worse off. Then Erin drops some real talk about side hustling. Sometimes the solution isn't just cutting expenses, it's increasing income. Whether it's freelancing, gig work, or selling stuff you don't use, that extra cash can go straight to debt payments. It doesn't have to be forever, but it can give you breathing room now. One of the most powerful takeaways in this chapter is that paying off debt isn't just financial, it's emotional. It gives you peace of mind. It opens doors. It frees up your future. And Erin encourages you to visualize what life will look like after the debt is gone. More savings, more choices, less stress. To stay motivated, she suggests creating a debt tracker. Visualize your progress, setting milestone rewards within budget. Finding an accountability partner, someone to cheer you on. Using automated payments to avoid late fees or forgetfulness. She wraps the chapter by reminding you that your debt does not make you broken. It's just a math problem with a solution. It may take time, discipline, and sacrifice, but you can become debt-free. And when you do, the freedom is priceless. So if you're staring at a mountain of bills and wondering where to begin, remember this: you already have. You're no longer ignoring it. You're reading, learning, and planning. And that's how every success story starts. Because when you stop letting your debt control you and start taking control of your debt, that's the moment everything begins to change. Chapter 9. Student Loans. How to handle them without having a full-on panic attack. For millions of Americans, student loans are the financial elephant in the room. They're huge, complicated, and silently shape major life choices, from where you live to whether you feel ready to get married or start a family. In this chapter, Erin Lowry gently unwraps the chaos and emotion around student debt and turns it into something you can face, calmly, clearly, and with a strategy. She starts by acknowledging a feeling many millennials know all too well. You did everything right, went to college, got the degree, and now you're stuck with debt that feels like it'll follow you to the grave. But Erin is quick to say, you're not alone and you're not powerless. Student loans are intimidating, yes, but they are also manageable once you understand how they work. The first thing she does is break down the two main categories of student loans, federal and private. Federal loans issued by the U.S. Department of Education are generally more flexible and forgiving. They come with options like income-driven repayment plans, deferment, forbearance, and forgiveness programs. If you borrowed through FAFSA, you probably have federal loans. Private loans, on the other hand, are issued by banks or private lenders. They usually have fewer protections, higher interest rates, and stricter repayment terms. Erin's advice: prioritize paying these off faster, since they're usually the costliest and least forgiving. Next, Erin tells you to get organized. It's time to gather all your loan information in one place. Who do you owe? How much do you owe? What are the interest rates? Are the loans federal or private? What's your current repayment plan? She recommends using the National Student Loan Data System, NSLDS, for federal loans or logging in to studentaid.gov to get your full loan picture. For private loans, you'll have to log into individual lender accounts. Then comes the part most people dread: choosing a repayment plan. Erin makes it easier by laying out the options. For federal loans, standard repayment plan. Fixed payments over 10 years. You'll pay less interest over time, but the monthly payments are higher. Graduated repayment plan. Payments start low and increase every 2 years. Designed for those who expect income to grow. Income-driven repayment plans, IDR. Payments are tied to your income and family size. After 20 to 25 years of payments, any remaining balance may be forgiven. Options include PAYE, RE, PAYE, IBR, and ICR, Public Service Loan Forgiveness, PSLF. Available for government and nonprofit employees. Forgives the remaining balance after 120 qualifying payments. Erin notes this is real but filled with bureaucratic hoops, so document everything. Erin emphasizes that IDR plans can be a lifeline for those whose payments feel crushing. But there's a trade-off. You may pay more in interest over the long term. Still, it can help you stay afloat in the short term, especially if you're underemployed or in a high cost of living area. She also debunks the myth that forbearance is your friend. Sure, it pauses your payments, but interest often keeps accruing, which means your balance grows. Erin calls forbearance a break glass in case of emergency option, not a long-term strategy. For private loans, unfortunately, options are more limited. There's no forgiveness and rarely income-based plans. Your best bet? Refinancing. If you have a solid credit score and steady income, refinancing your private loans can lower your interest rate and shorten the payoff timeline. But Erin gives a strong warning. Never refinance federal loans into private ones. You'll lose all your federal protections forever. Then comes the real talk. What if you regret taking out student loans? Erin acknowledges the emotional weight of debt tied to a degree that didn't land you the job or salary you hoped for. That kind of financial grief is real. But she offers a mindset shift. Rather than beating yourself up, focus on what you can control now. Budget smarter, pick a repayment plan, explore forgiveness options, rebuild from here. She also encourages readers to stop avoiding their loans. Many people go months, even years, without checking their balances out of fear. But Erin says burying your head in the sand only makes things worse. Knowledge is power. The minute you log in and face the numbers, you shift from being a victim to being in control. To stay motivated, she offers these practical tips. Set up autopay to get a small interest rate discount and avoid missed payments. Celebrate small wins, like paying off one loan or crossing below a balance milestone. Name your loans. Seriously, giving them a name adds personality and makes repayment feel more intentional. Visualize your debt-free date. Use an online calculator to see your timeline. Make it your goalpost. She also shares a story of someone who aggressively tackled their student debt by living in a tiny studio, cutting expenses, and side hustling like crazy. They paid off $60,000 in 4 years. Was it extreme? Sure. But Erin doesn't say you have to go that route. She just wants you to know it can be done. The heart of this chapter is about empowerment. Erin reminds you that student loans may be part of your financial story, but they don't get to write the ending. Whether you owe $10,000 or $100,000, you have options, you have tools, and you have time. It won't be easy, but it's also not hopeless. So take a deep breath, log in, look at your numbers, pick a plan, and start moving, because every payment, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. And freedom, that's worth every penny. Chapter 10. I've got debt, so why should I care about saving? Pay yourself first. When you're juggling credit card payments, student loans, and rent that eats half your paycheck, the idea of saving money can feel like a cruel joke. Why stash away cash when your debt is screaming at you every month? In this chapter, Erin Lowry tackles that very question and flips the script entirely, because as she explains, saving isn't selfish or irresponsible. In fact, saving while in debt might be the smartest financial move you ever make. She begins with a gut-check reality. Life happens, cars break down, people get sick, jobs disappear, and when life throws a financial curveball, and it will, your emergency fund becomes your parachute. Without savings, you're forced to fall back on credit cards, personal loans, or worse, payday lenders. That's how people spiral deeper into debt. So Erin's message is simple but powerful. You must pay yourself first, even when you're still paying others. The chapter opens with a relatable anecdote. A woman was aggressively paying off debt and refused to save even a penny. Then her cat got sick. Emergency vet visit, $800. With no cash on hand, she put it on a high-interest credit card. Within a few months, she'd added $1,000 more in interest alone. Had she just set aside a few bucks a month, she might have avoided that disaster. That's why Erin introduces the concept of the emergency fund wall. Think of it like this. Your emergency fund is the wall that stands between you and future debt. It doesn't need to be massive right away. Even $500 or $1,000 can turn a financial emergency into an inconvenience instead of a crisis. She then breaks down how to start saving when you feel like you have nothing left over. Start small. $10, $25, even $5 a week adds up. The key is consistency, not size. Automate it. Set up automatic transfers to a savings account on payday. If you don't see it, you won't miss it. Keep it separate. Use a different bank or an online-only savings account so you're less tempted to dip into it. Round it up. Use apps that round up your purchases and stash the change. Sneaky, but effective. Erin also talks about the psychology of saving. Many people feel like if they can't save a lot, it's not worth saving at all. But that's the perfection trap. Saving is a habit, not a one-time achievement. And the earlier you build the habit, the stronger your financial foundation becomes. Next, she introduces another game-changing mindset shift. Savings isn't about denying yourself today. It's about taking care of your future self. Imagine your future self getting laid off, or needing a root canal, or facing a sudden cross-country move. What would they want you to do today? Erin argues they'd want you to build a cushion, not because you expect disaster, but because you respect your own peace of mind. She also addresses a major guilt trip. But shouldn't I be using every dollar to pay off my debt? Her answer, it's not either or, it's both. Think of it like this. You can throw every dollar at your debt, but if one emergency hits, you'll add more debt to cover it. But if you save a small buffer while paying down debt, you protect yourself from the roller coaster. She suggests a hybrid approach. Minimum payments on all debt. Then split any extra between savings and extra debt payments. For example, if you have $200 extra per month, maybe you put $100 toward building your emergency fund and $100 toward your highest interest debt. This strategy builds your financial stability while chipping away at what you owe. Erin also introduces the concept of sinking funds, mini savings buckets for future expenses you know are coming. Think holiday gifts, car maintenance, annual subscriptions. By putting aside a little each month, you avoid blowing your budget when those inevitable costs hit. Sinking funds aren't emergencies, they're just good planning. Then she hits on something especially important for millennials. Saving for the unexpected doesn't mean you stop living. You can still have fun, travel, or enjoy brunch with friends, but you do it from a place of confidence, not panic. The chapter wraps with practical steps. Set a savings goal. Even $500 can be a game changer. Name your savings account. Emergency fund or future me can keep you motivated. Review monthly. Track progress, adjust your budget, and celebrate milestones. Use windfalls wisely. Got a tax refund, bonus, or birthday money? Treat yourself a little, but save most. And finally, Erin reminds you, saving is an act of self-respect. It's not about being rich or frugal or hyper-disciplined. It's about believing that your peace of mind, your freedom, and your ability to handle life on your terms matter. So even if you're swimming in debt, don't skip the savings. Because when life comes at you fast, and it will, your emergency fund won't just be money in the bank. It'll be the reason you stay in control. Chapter 11. I can't afford to split this dinner bill evenly. Ever been at dinner with friends, nervously watching everyone order cocktails, appetizers, and dessert, knowing full well you just ordered an entree and a glass of water? Then comes the awkward moment. Someone suggests splitting the bill evenly. You feel your stomach drop. Say something and risk looking cheap? Stay quiet and pay more than your share. Again? This chapter is about that exact moment and how to deal with it like a financial grown-up. Erin Lowry opens with a truth bomb. Talking about money in social situations can feel awkward AF. Whether it's brunch, bachelorette parties, or weddings, money drama bubbles just beneath the surface. But here's the kicker. Avoiding the topic doesn't save you from discomfort. It just builds resentment and drains your bank account. So what do you do when your social life starts sabotaging your financial goals? Erin first tackles the emotional side. Many people spend more than they can afford because they don't want to seem cheap, poor, or out of place, especially among friends who earn more, have different lifestyles, or don't understand your financial reality. But here's the hard truth. You are the one who has to live with your bank balance, not your friends. If you're constantly saying yes to everything out of guilt or fear of judgment, you're hurting yourself long term. That's why Erin encourages readers to find their money voice. It's the ability to speak up about what you can and can't afford in a way that's confident, respectful, and firm. And no, that doesn't mean announcing your budget to the whole group every time. It means learning how to set boundaries before the check comes. She offers scripts you can literally copy and paste into your life. Hey, I'd love to come, but I'm on a tight budget this month. Can we grab coffee instead of dinner? I'm good to join for drinks, but I'll eat at home first. Can we get separate checks? I'm watching my spending right now. These aren't excuses. They're boundaries. And boundaries are how you protect your goals, financial and otherwise. Erin also digs into the common issue of group travel and group gifts. These moments are ripe for financial stress. Maybe everyone's planning a weekend getaway that costs $600 and you're thinking, that's half my rent. Erin's advice? Be honest early. Don't commit, then bail. Don't ghost. Don't go broke trying to not be the buzzkill. She even recommends designating one friend as the spreadsheet master to plan expenses transparently in group trips. No surprises, no passive-aggressive Venmos later. Then she flips the situation. What if you're the one who earns more than your friends? Erin urges financially stable readers to practice compassion. If you want to treat your friends, great. Just don't pressure them into spending they can't afford. Make it clear it's a gift, not a shared expectation, and never shame someone for opting out of plans. That's not friendship, that's financial bullying. One of the most powerful points in this chapter is about lifestyle creep. That's when your income increases and slowly your spending rises to match it. Fancier restaurants, upgraded vacations, trendier clothes. Erin explains that sometimes friends begin to unconsciously pressure each other to level up their social life without realizing not everyone's budget grew along with their paycheck. So she encourages you to check yourself. Are you creating financial peer pressure for your circle? She also shares a brilliant tip called the social budget. Instead of reacting to every invitation with panic or guilt, plan ahead. Set aside a specific amount each month just for social events, dinners, birthdays, spontaneous outings. That way, you say yes without derailing your budget. And when that fund runs out, you can say no without guilt because you're just following your plan. Next, Erin explores the psychology behind overspending in social situations. Many people feel embarrassed about saying no, not because of the money, but because of what it says about them, that they're not successful, that they're struggling. But here's the thing, being honest about your finances takes more courage than pretending to have it all together. And the people who really matter, they'll respect that. She also offers practical tips. Review the menu before going out. Plan what you'll order and what it will cost. Speak up early. When making plans, say, let's pick a place that works for everyone's budget. Be proactive. Suggest activities that aren't expensive. Game nights, potlucks, hikes, coffee dates. Use cash. Bring only what you plan to spend so you're not tempted to swipe more than you should. Finally, Erin closes with the heart of the chapter. Your financial goals deserve protection even in your social life. Whether you're saving for an emergency fund, climbing out of debt, or just trying to make ends meet, you have every right to say no, opt out, or suggest alternatives. True friends care more about you than the check. And if someone doesn't understand that, well, maybe it's not just your budget that needs a reset. Maybe it's your circle too. Because the truth is, you can't afford to keep paying for silence. Speaking up is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also liberating. So the next time that dinner bill lands on the table, don't panic, don't pretend. Just take a breath, use your money voice, and protect your financial peace. Because your goals matter, and so do you. Chapter 12. Getting financially naked with your partner. Love might be blind, but your finances shouldn't be. In this chapter, Erin Lowry walks right into one of the most vulnerable and uncomfortable spaces in personal finance, talking money with your partner. If you've ever felt nervous about sharing your salary, student loan balance, or spending habits with someone you're dating, you're not alone. But Erin makes a compelling case. If you're willing to get emotionally naked, it's time to get financially naked too. She kicks things off with a bold truth. Money is one of the top causes of stress and divorce in relationships. And it's not just because people are broke, it's because people don't communicate. Different money backgrounds, habits, and expectations can quietly create tension until one day it explodes over something like a missed bill or an unplanned purchase. Erin says the solution isn't perfect finances, it's honest conversations. But she knows it's not easy. Many of us were raised in families where money was a taboo topic. Maybe you watched your parents fight about it. Maybe you were taught to stay quiet and just be grateful. Whatever the reason, we carry that silence into our relationships, and it builds invisible walls. So Erin gives you a roadmap for tearing down those walls. It starts with the getting financially naked conversation. This is the moment where you and your partner share your full financial picture. Think how much you make, how much you owe, how you budget or don't, what your financial goals are, what your credit score looks like, what emotions you attach to money. Sound intense? That's because it is. But Erin's approach is thoughtful, step by step, and yes, even kind of romantic. She says this isn't a one-time interrogation. It's an ongoing dialogue, a mutual act of trust and vulnerability. To make it easier, she suggests choosing the right moment, not right before bed or during a fight. Pick a low-stress time, maybe over coffee or on a weekend walk. Keep it judgment-free. Erin even recommends both partners fill out a financial snapshot beforehand to bring to the table. That way, it's structured and less scary. She also shares a series of guiding questions to break the ice. What did your parents teach you about money? What's your biggest financial fear? How do you define financial success? If we had a financial windfall, what would you do with it? How do you feel about debt, saving, or investing? These questions aren't just about numbers. They're about values. And that's the key to building a shared financial future. Erin says you can live with someone who has different habits, but not if your values fundamentally clash. She also addresses a real-world problem many couples face, the spender versus saver dynamic. One partner loves budgeting, the other prefers to wing it. One checks every transaction, the other doesn't look at statements. Erin says this tension is natural and solvable. Instead of trying to fix each other, focus on compromise. For example, set shared financial goals, vacation, emergency fund, house down payment. Create a joint budget for shared expenses while keeping individual accounts for personal spending. Schedule monthly money dates to check in without judgment or surprise. Speaking of joint accounts, Erin explores the pros and cons of different financial systems, all-in approach. Combine everything. Great for couples who share similar habits and long-term goals. Yours, mine, and ours. A joint account for shared expenses. Separate accounts for personal freedom. This is Erin's favorite. It balances accountability and autonomy. Fully separate. Best for couples early in dating or with very different incomes or goals. Less convenient but clear boundaries. No one system is perfect. The best one is the one you both agree on. She also digs into the thorny issue of income disparity. What happens when one partner makes significantly more or one carries more debt? Erin says these gaps don't have to be divisive if you talk about them honestly. Maybe you split rent 60-40 instead of 50-50. Maybe the higher earner pays more toward long-term savings. It's about fairness, not exact equality. Another tough topic Erin tackles is financial baggage. What if your partner has bad credit or a ton of debt, or you just found out they've been hiding spending? She doesn't sugarcoat it. Those are red flags. But they don't have to be deal breakers if there's honesty, a plan to improve, and a shared commitment to growth. One of the most powerful moments in this chapter comes when Erin reframes financial compatibility. It's not about matching numbers, it's about matching mindsets. If you and your partner are both willing to be open, flexible, and future-focused, you can build something strong even if you're starting from very different places. She closes with this reminder. Getting financially naked is an act of intimacy. It's not just about being honest, it's about building trust. And the more you normalize these conversations early, the easier it becomes to face challenges down the road, like buying a home, starting a family, or navigating a job loss. So whether you're just starting to date, thinking about moving in, or already married, this chapter is your nudge to open the books, open your mouth, and open your heart, because love might be what brings you together, but honest money conversations are what keep you there. Chapter 13. Paying rent to your rents. Overcoming the emotional and financial battles of living at home after college. So you've graduated, you've got the degree, and instead of launching into full independence, you find yourself moving back into your childhood bedroom. Posters still on the wall, parents asking where you're going at 8 p.m., and that looming question, should I be paying them rent? In this chapter, Erin Lowry tackles the emotional, cultural, and financial landmine of moving back in with your parents as an adult. It's not just about money, it's about pride, boundaries, expectations, and what it means to be a grown-up in a world where independence is expensive. She starts with the big picture. Millions of millennials have moved back home, not because they're lazy, but because the math often doesn't work. Student debt, entry-level salaries, high rent, and an unpredictable job market have made it harder than ever to launch financially right out of college. But Erin emphasizes this doesn't make you a failure. It makes you smart if you use the time wisely. That's the key word here, intentionality. Living at home can either be a launch pad or a trap. The difference? How you structure it. Erin introduces the concept of the return on investment, ROI, of moving back home. She challenges you to ask, what am I doing with the money I'm saving? Are you throwing it at student loans? Building your emergency fund? Saving for your own place? If not, why are you there? She stresses that you shouldn't live at home just because it's comfortable. You should do it because it's part of a plan. And step one of that plan, having an honest conversation with your parents. Here's where things get real. Erin walks you through the rent talk. Some parents expect it, some don't. Some feel uncomfortable asking. Others feel offended if you offer. That's why communication is critical. She suggests asking questions like, would you feel comfortable if I contributed to household expenses? Are there bills I can help cover while I'm here? Would you prefer I pay rent or help with groceries and utilities? These conversations can be awkward, but necessary. Erin points out that paying rent to your parents doesn't make you less of a kid. It makes you more of an adult. It shows respect for the household and a commitment to pulling your weight. She also outlines a few common approaches. Paying a set amount of rent. This could be below market but symbolic. $300 to $500 per month, for example. Covering certain bills. You might take on groceries, cell phone plans, internet, or utilities. Phantom rent savings. Some parents don't charge rent, but instead ask you to save that amount each month. In some cases, they even match or gift it back when you move out. Bartering labor. If you're unemployed or underemployed, offer your time. Cook, clean, do yard work, help with tech, contribute in a tangible way. One key message in this chapter is, whatever arrangement you agree on, put it in writing. It doesn't have to be a legal contract, but writing it down helps avoid confusion, resentment, or awkwardness later. Erin's seen too many relationships strained over unclear expectations. She also tackles the emotional baggage. Living at home can feel like a step backward, especially when your peers are posting apartment selfies and adulting hard on Instagram. Erin gets it, but she reminds you that comparison kills progress. Just because someone lives in a trendy studio doesn't mean they're financially stable. They might be buried in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. Your job is to focus on your financial goals, not the optics. That's why Erin recommends creating a timeline for independence. Whether it's 6 months or 2 years, give yourself a deadline. Use that time to build an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Pay off or aggressively manage debt. Improve your credit score. Save for first/last month's rent, plus security deposit. Budget for furniture, moving costs, and recurring bills. She even shares success stories. People who lived at home, made a plan, and launched debt-free into independent life. One person saved $20,000 in a year while paying $400 per month in rent to her parents. Another used the time to start a side hustle that turned into a full-time business. The point? Living at home can be a power move if you treat it like one. Erin also addresses something often overlooked: family dynamics. Moving home as an adult can dredge up old habits. Suddenly you're 26, but your parents are treating you like you're 16. Or maybe you're trying to assert independence while still under their roof. Erin suggests setting ground rules early. What time should you be home, if at all? Are overnight guests okay? Who handles groceries and cooking? How often do you contribute to chores? And here's the big one: boundaries. Just because you're living at home doesn't mean you're not an adult. Erin emphasizes the need for emotional boundaries, especially around privacy, dating, and job hunting pressure. Your parents may be well-meaning, but they need to respect your space, and you need to respect theirs. She closes the chapter with this core idea: living at home isn't about where you sleep, it's about how you move forward. Done right, it's a smart, strategic financial detour, not a dead end. But if you treat it like an indefinite vacation, you'll stay stuck and strain relationships in the process. So if you're sleeping in your old twin bed, wondering when adulthood will begin, remember, it already has. You're making grown-up decisions. You're building a financial future, and you're choosing the smart play, not the Instagrammable one. And that, Erin says, is the real flex. Chapter 14. How to negotiate salary or anything else by learning to ask for what you want. If you've ever accepted a job offer, smiled politely, and said thank you without even thinking about negotiating, this chapter is for you. Erin Lowry comes in hot with one of the most powerful truths in the book. The biggest financial boost you'll ever get may not come from saving more, but from earning more. And the key to earning more? Negotiation. This chapter is all about learning to advocate for yourself, at work, in contracts, even in everyday situations. Erin opens with a hard reality. Not negotiating can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Think about it. If you start your career earning $5,000 less than you could have, and raises are percentage-based, you'll always be playing catch-up. So why don't people negotiate? Erin outlines the top reasons: fear of being seen as greedy or difficult, anxiety around confrontation, lack of confidence or experience, worry the offer might be rescinded, but she's quick to counter these fears. Research shows most employers expect candidates to negotiate and respect those who do. In fact, not asking can sometimes make you seem less confident or prepared. Erin walks you through the psychology of asking for more. Many people, especially women and marginalized groups, have been socially conditioned to be agreeable, accommodating, and non-confrontational. So they accept the first offer, even if it's below market value. Erin's message: you can be polite and professional and still ask for what you deserve. She then introduces her salary negotiation checklist, a step-by-step guide that's clear, empowering, and actionable. Step 1. Do your homework. Before you negotiate, you need data. Use websites like Glassdoor, Payscale, or Levels.fyi to research the typical salary for your role in your industry and location. Don't rely on guesses or feelings. Walk in with numbers. Step 2. Know your range. Come prepared with a salary range, not just one number. Your ideal salary should be at the top of that range, and your minimum acceptable number should be the bottom. That way, you give yourself flexibility while still setting boundaries. Step 3. Practice your ask. Erin emphasizes role play. Yes, it feels awkward, but it works. Practice with a friend, mentor, or in front of a mirror. Get used to saying, based on my research and experience, I was expecting something in the range of X dollars to Y dollars. Is there flexibility in that offer? Can we discuss additional compensation or benefits? The more you rehearse, the more confident you'll sound when it counts. Step 4. Timing is everything. The best time to negotiate is after the offer is made, but before you sign. Erin warns against blurting out your salary expectations too early in the interview process. If pressed, she suggests responding with something like, "I'd prefer to learn more about the role and responsibilities before discussing numbers." Step 5. Think beyond salary. Not every negotiation has to be about dollars. Erin lists other negotiable perks: signing bonuses, remote work flexibility, extra vacation days, professional development budget, relocation costs, title upgrades. Sometimes a company truly can't offer more money, but they can add value in other ways. So don't walk away if the base salary is firm. Look at the full compensation package. Erin also dives into the emotional side of negotiating, that nervous stomach, the fear of hearing no, the awkward silence after you state your number. She says, feel the fear and ask anyway, because confidence doesn't mean you're not scared, it means you do it anyway. She also shares a few success stories. Readers who negotiated $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 more than the original offer just by asking. In some cases, the employer said yes immediately. In others, they came back with a compromise. But almost every single one of them was glad they tried. And if the employer says no, that's not failure, that's information. You now know where they stand and whether this is a place that values your worth. Erin even includes negotiation tips for freelancers and entrepreneurs. Quote your rates with confidence. Don't justify or apologize. Be ready to walk away if it's not a good fit. Include clear boundaries and revisions in your contracts. Ask for deposits up front, especially on large projects. She urges creative professionals and gig workers to stop underselling themselves. just to get the gig. Because if you keep underpricing your work, clients will expect a bargain and you'll burn out fast. Another important point, negotiation is a skill, not a talent. You're not born good at it, you get good at it through practice. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Erin even suggests starting small. Try negotiating your cell phone bill, your internet rate, or your next furniture delivery fee. Build your muscle, train your voice. She wraps the chapter with one of her favorite mantras: don't ask, don't get. Closed mouths don't get raises. Quiet workers don't get promotions. Silence doesn't get you flexibility. If you don't speak up, people assume you're fine with what you've got. So the next time you get a job offer, land a freelance gig, or hit your one-year review, don't just smile and nod. Pause, breathe, ask. Because the worst they can say is no. And the best they can say? Yes. Chapter 15, Investing. No, it isn't gambling. For many people, the word investing feels like something meant for rich people in suits or gamblers in Vegas rolling the dice. It's intimidating, overwhelming, and full of acronyms that make your eyes glaze over. But in this chapter, Erin Lowry breaks down investing into something approachable, doable, and even kind of exciting. Her core message: investing isn't about hitting it big, it's about building your future, $1 at a time. She opens by acknowledging the fear. A lot of people think investing is risky, complicated, or reserved for people who already have money. But that's the biggest myth of all. The truth is, if you ever want to retire, you need to invest. Saving alone won't get you there. Why? Because of something magical: compound growth. Erin explains it like this. Let's say you stash $100 under your mattress every month. In 30 years, you'll have $36,000. Not bad, right? But if you invest that same $100 per month in a retirement account with an average 7% annual return, you'd have over $120,000. That's compound interest doing its thing, your money making money, which then makes more money. So what exactly is investing? Erin defines it as putting your money into assets, like stocks, bonds, or funds that have the potential to grow over time. It's not a guaranteed return, but historically, the stock market has delivered about 7 to 8% annually after inflation. She immediately makes an important distinction. Investing is not gambling. When you gamble, you risk money based purely on chance. When you invest, you're taking calculated risks based on long-term patterns, research, and the power of time. To calm the nerves, Erin introduces the concept of set it and forget it investing. That means choosing simple, diversified investments and letting them grow over years or decades, without checking the market obsessively or trying to time it. Because here's the truth. You won't beat the market. Even most professionals don't. But you can ride the market, and that's where the real wins happen. She then walks through the basics of how to get started, beginning with retirement accounts. You've probably heard of them. 401k, offered by employers, often includes a match, free money. Contributions are made pre-tax, reducing your taxable income today. Roth IRA, funded with after-tax dollars. You don't get a tax break now, but your money grows tax-free, and you don't pay taxes when you withdraw it in retirement. Traditional IRA, like a 401k, but not tied to an employer. Contributions may be tax-deductible depending on your income. Erin's advice? Start with a 401k if your employer offers one, especially if there's a match. That match is free money, and skipping it is like turning down a raise. If you don't have access to a 401k, or you've maxed it out, open a Roth IRA next. She makes it clear you don't need a financial advisor or thousands of dollars to begin. Many brokerages now offer no minimum investment accounts. You can literally start with $25 or $50 a month. The point is to start, not to be perfect. Next, she explains what to invest in. This is where many people get lost in the weeds of stock picking, but Erin simplifies it. For most people, the best option is a target date retirement fund or a low-cost index fund. Target date funds automatically adjust your investment mix as you get older, more aggressive when you're young, more conservative as retirement nears. Index funds track the performance of a broad market index like the S&P 500. They're diversified, low-fee, and historically solid performers. She breaks down a common example. If you invest in a total stock market index fund, you're not just buying one stock. You're buying a piece of thousands of companies. That means your risk is spread out, and your returns will reflect the overall market over time. Then there's the scary topic of market crashes. Erin acknowledges they're real, but they're not the end of the world. She points to history. The market always recovers. The people who stay invested, not the ones who panic and sell, are the ones who win long term. She uses a great analogy. The market is like a roller coaster. If you get off in the middle of the ride because it's scary, you'll miss the loop and the finish. Long-term investing is about staying in your seat even when things get bumpy. Erin also touches on robo-advisors, automated platforms like Betterment or Wealthfront that build and manage a diversified portfolio for you. These are great for beginners who want a hands-off, low-fee way to invest. And yes, she tackles the question, what if I still have debt? Her answer is nuanced. If your debt has a high interest rate, like credit cards, prioritize that. But if your debt is lower interest, like federal student loans, consider splitting your focus, pay off debt and invest, because time in the market matters more than timing the market. She offers this general roadmap. Get your employer match, if available. Build an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Pay off high-interest debt. Start or grow your investments. One of the most empowering parts of this chapter is when Erin reminds you that you don't need to be an expert to be an investor. You just need to be consistent. The earlier you start, the more powerful your results, because time is your best friend. She closes the chapter with a line that sticks. Your future self will thank you, not for the fancy latte you skipped, but for the money you quietly put to work month after month. So if you've been afraid of investing or convinced it's not for you, it's time to shift that mindset. Because the real risk isn't investing, it's not investing at all. Chapter 16, Retirement. Can it ever happen for me? For a lot of millennials, the idea of retirement feels almost mythical. Like, sure, maybe it happened for our grandparents who worked the same job for 40 years, got a pension, and rode off into the sunset. But for us, with student loans, high rent, and job-hopping career paths, retirement can seem like a fairy tale that's slipping further and further away. In this chapter, Erin Lowry pulls that dream back down to earth and makes it feel real, possible, and even empowering. Her message is clear. Retirement is not just for later. It's something you start building now, even in small ways. She begins with a reality check. Many people think retirement will just happen eventually, but unless you inherit a fortune or win the lottery, that's not the case. Erin stresses, retirement isn't an age, it's a dollar amount. If you want to stop working someday, you need a big enough nest egg to pay for your life without a paycheck. So how much do you need? That depends on how long you expect to live after retiring, your lifestyle, basic versus bougie. Whether you plan to travel, relocate, or work part-time, the rate of return your investments will earn. Inflation and future healthcare costs. Overwhelmed yet? Don't worry, Erin breaks it all down. She introduces the 25 times rule as a starting point. Estimate your annual expenses in retirement, then multiply by 25. That gives you a rough target for how much you need to save. Example, If you want $40,000 a year in retirement, you'll need around $1 million saved. Sounds big, right? But when you break it into monthly savings over 30-plus years, it becomes manageable. She then brings up one of the most powerful tools available: compound interest. It's why starting early matters so much more than how much you invest. A person who starts investing $200 per month at age 25 and stops at 35 can end up with more money than someone who starts at 35 and keeps going until 65. That's the magic of letting your money grow over time. But how do you actually save for retirement? Erin walks through your primary options. 1. Employer-sponsored plans. 401k, 403b. Contributions are pre-tax, lowering your taxable income today. Money grows tax-deferred. Many employers offer matching contributions. Free money. There's an annual limit which adjusts yearly. $23,000 for 2025. You'll pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. 2. Roth IRA. You contribute after-tax dollars. Money grows tax-free, and you don't pay taxes when you withdraw in retirement. Great for people early in their careers when your tax rate is lower. There's an income limit for contributions, but backdoor Roth strategies exist if you earn too much. 3. Traditional IRA. Contributions may be tax-deductible. Like a 401k, you pay taxes when you withdraw. Best if you don't have a 401k or want to supplement it. She also touches on HSA, Health Savings Account, as a stealth retirement account. If you have a high-deductible health plan, an HSA allows you to contribute money tax-free, grow it tax-free, and withdraw it tax-free for medical expenses. After age 65, you can use it for anything just like a traditional IRA, and it's only taxed as income. Then comes the question a lot of people ask: what if I'm behind? Erin doesn't sugarcoat it. Yes, starting early is best, but starting now is still better than not at all. The worst thing you can do is throw up your hands and say, "I'll figure it out later." Later might be too late. She encourages readers to start small and increase over time. Even if you're only investing 2% of your paycheck now, bump it to 3% next year, then 4%, and so on. If your employer auto-escalates your contributions, don't opt out. That feature alone can build a healthy retirement nest egg over time. She also addresses the fear of locking up your money. Yes, retirement accounts have penalties for early withdrawal, but that's kind of the point. It keeps you from sabotaging your future. And if you really need the money, there are exceptions for things like first-time home purchases or certain hardships. Another fear she busts is the idea that you'll never want to retire. Erin gets it. Some people love what they do and can't imagine stopping. But life is unpredictable. Illness, burnout, layoffs, or caregiving responsibilities can hit unexpectedly. Saving for retirement isn't just about quitting work, it's about having options. And yes, she talks about Social Security. It's likely to still exist, but it probably won't be enough to live on. The average monthly Social Security check in the U.S. is about $1,800. Not exactly luxury living. Erin says think of it as a bonus, not a plan. To drive the point home, Erin shares stories of people who started saving young and people who waited. The difference in outcomes isn't just about math, it's about stress. The ones who started early feel confident. The ones who didn't, constantly anxious, scrambling to catch up, and sacrificing their freedom. She closes the chapter with a powerful mindset shift. Saving for retirement is an act of self-care. It's you saying to your future self, "I've got you." It's not about depriving yourself now. It's about creating peace, freedom, and dignity later. So even if retirement feels a million years away, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, Even if you're not sure where to start, start anyway. Because someday you're going to want to stop working. And when that day comes, you'll be so glad you planned for it today. Chapter 17. I'm not rich enough to hire a financial planner. You might think financial planners are just for people with millions in the bank, multiple properties, and complex portfolios. In other words, not you. But in this chapter, Erin Lowry flips that idea on its head. She makes it clear that you don't need to be rich to need help. You just need to want clarity, confidence, and direction. She starts with the core question: should I hire a financial planner? Her answer: maybe, but not always. Erin's not here to sell you on one-size-fits-all advice. Instead, she walks you through who they are, what they do, when you might need one, and how to find one who actually has your best interests at heart. Let's begin with what financial planners actually do. They help you create a holistic financial plan: budgeting, investing, saving, taxes. Set and reach your long-term goals: home ownership, retirement, education. Navigate life transitions: getting married, having kids, starting a business. Manage your investments, if they're licensed to do so. Avoid emotional money mistakes like panic selling in a downturn. Sounds great, right? But here's where Erin gets real. Not all financial planners are created equal. There are a lot of people out there calling themselves planners or advisors. Some are glorified salespeople pushing expensive products. Others work on commission and only make money when they sell you insurance, annuities, or high-fee mutual funds. That's why she introduces one of the most important terms in the book: fiduciary. A fiduciary is legally required to act in your best interest, not theirs. Always ask any potential advisor: are you a fiduciary at all times with all your clients? If they dodge, hesitate, or say no, walk away. Next up, how do financial planners get paid? Erin breaks it into 3 models. Commission-based. The planner makes money when you buy certain products. Potential conflict of interest. They might push what pays them the most. Fee-based. A combination of fees plus commissions can still involve conflict, even if they also charge for services. Fee only. This is the gold standard. You pay for their time, not products. They might charge hourly, per project, or as a percentage of your assets. Erin strongly recommends working with a fee-only fiduciary advisor, especially if you're just starting out and want advice, not a sales pitch. She then outlines when you might want to hire one. You're making a big financial decision: buying a house, combining finances, changing jobs. You've inherited money or started earning significantly more. You're overwhelmed by investment choices or tax planning. You're approaching retirement and want a clear drawdown strategy. You just want someone to explain everything without judgment. But she also makes this clear: you don't need a financial planner to get started. In fact, for many young adults, a good book, a budget, and an investment app are all you need in the early stages. Only once your financial life becomes more layered, multiple income streams, dependents, tax planning, does the value of professional guidance go up. Still, Erin knows money is emotional. Sometimes having a pro in your corner brings peace of mind that's worth the cost. So she explains where to find legit planners: NAPFA.org, National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, fee-only fiduciaries. XYPlanningNetwork.com focuses on Gen X and Gen Y clients. GarrettPlanningNetwork.com offers hourly planning with no asset minimums. You can filter based on location, specialties, like student loan strategies or LGBTQ plus families, and pricing. Erin emphasizes interview multiple planners before committing. Ask about their experience, fees, services, and how they're compensated. And if hiring one is out of your budget right now, she suggests using robo-advisors like Betterment or Wealthfront. These automated platforms offer diversified investing, basic financial advice, and tax loss harvesting for a fraction of what a human advisor charges. It's not the same as having someone to call, but it's way better than guessing. She also addresses a growing space: financial coaching. These aren't licensed planners, and they won't manage your investments, but they can help with budgeting, debt repayment, and behavioral money habits. If you're not ready for an advisor but want help developing healthy systems, a coach might be a great middle ground. Erin includes stories of people who hired planners at different stages. One person hired a planner for a one-time session before buying a house and avoided a costly mortgage mistake. Another used a planner to merge finances with their spouse and set joint goals. One millennial realized they were sitting on too much cash and not investing enough. The planner helped them get on track and maximize their 401k. Finally, she gives one of her signature reminders. You don't have to figure this all out alone, but you do have to be intentional. If you're unsure whether to hire a planner, ask, am I confident in my current financial plan? Are my decisions based on strategy or stress? Would I feel better having a second opinion? If the answer is yes to that last one, then it might be time to bring in some help. Because in the end, the goal isn't just to have money, it's to use it wisely. And whether you go DIY or get a pro, being financially lost is not a badge of honor. There's no shame in getting guidance. In fact, that's one of the smartest money moves you can make. Chapter 18. But my broker said I can afford this much house. Buying a home. It's the classic American dream and also one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. In this final chapter, Erin Lowry tackles the pressure, confusion, and marketing traps that come with home ownership, especially the dangerous myth that if you're approved for a mortgage, you can afford the house. Spoiler alert, just because the bank says you can afford a $400,000 home doesn't mean you should buy it. Erin kicks off the chapter with a punchy truth. Lenders don't care about your weekend hobbies, your vacation dreams, or whether you want to start a side hustle. They're using formulas based on gross income, not your actual lifestyle, and they'll often approve you for the maximum you can technically afford, on paper, not what makes sense for your life. She explains a key term, DTI, or debt-to-income ratio. This is how lenders decide how much house you can afford. They calculate what percentage of your gross monthly income goes toward debt. Mortgage, student loans, car payments, credit cards. A typical approval threshold is around 36 to 43%. But Erin is quick to say, you know your full picture way better than your lender does. Here's her recommendation. Base your budget on net income, aka take-home pay, and factor in all expenses, not just the mortgage, utilities, repairs, HOA fees, home insurance, and maintenance. Because guess what? Houses break, stuff leaks, roofs age. You can't just budget for the mortgage and call it a day. She shares stories of people who bought at the top of their approved range and instantly became house poor. No money for travel, eating out, or even basic savings. Suddenly they're stuck in a beautiful home with no breathing room. So, how much should you spend on a house? Erin suggests the 28-36 rule as a guide. No more than 28% of your gross monthly income on housing costs, mortgage, taxes, insurance. No more than 36% total for all debts, including housing, student loans, credit cards, etc. But again, she urges you to customize based on your life. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe you're planning kids. Maybe you have a side hustle that fluctuates. Don't box yourself into a mortgage payment that kills your freedom. She also outlines the true costs of buying a home. Down payment, ideally 20% to avoid PMI, private mortgage insurance. Closing costs, 2 to 5% of the purchase price. Moving expenses, furniture and appliances. Ongoing maintenance, 1 to 3% of the home's value every year. And then there's property taxes, which vary wildly by location and can go up. Erin emphasizes checking local rates before you buy, so you're not shocked when the bill arrives. Next, she tackles the emotional side of buying a home. Millennials are constantly told, renting is throwing money away. But Erin busts that myth hard. Renting isn't a waste, it's a trade-off. You're paying for flexibility, mobility, and not having to replace a roof. Home ownership is great if you're ready for it, but rushing in because you feel behind is a recipe for disaster. She introduces a few key questions to ask yourself. Do I plan to stay in this area for at least 5 years? Do I have a stable job and income? Do I have a solid emergency fund? 6 months? Can I afford a 10 to 20% down payment plus closing costs? Can I afford the monthly payment without sacrificing lifestyle or savings? If the answer to any of those is no, pause. Erin also talks about the pressure of comparison. Seeing friends buy homes can make you feel like you're falling behind. But remember, you don't know their full story. Maybe they had family help. Maybe they're over-leveraged. Maybe they're silently drowning in bills. Your timeline is your own. She offers a brilliant strategy. Rent the lifestyle before you buy. Want to know what it's like to live in a certain neighborhood? Rent there for 6 to 12 months. You'll learn about commute times, noise levels, grocery options, and whether it actually fits your life before you sign up for a 30-year commitment. And finally, she gives you permission to say no, even if you're pre-approved, even if you're supposed to buy now, even if your parents are nudging you. Home ownership is a choice, not a requirement for adulthood. You can build wealth, security, and stability without buying a home, especially if buying one means sacrificing your sanity, lifestyle, or financial safety net. Erin wraps the book with this message. Personal finance is just that, personal. Every decision should reflect your values, your goals, and your timeline. You don't have to buy the biggest house, marry the richest partner, or hustle till you drop to make it. You just have to get clear, get intentional, and get honest with yourself. So if a broker ever tells you you're approved for this much, don't take it as a green light. Take it as a starting point, and then decide what you can afford your way. Because at the end of the day, the best financial decision isn't the one that looks good on paper. It's the one that feels right in your real life. So, what's stopping you now? You've just been handed the blueprint, real talk, real tools, and real strategies to take control of your money. Not someday, not when you make more, right now. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? Because knowing how to budget, invest, or crush your debt means nothing if it stays in your head. Action is what builds change. Action is what rewrites the story. Maybe you started this journey feeling overwhelmed, like your finances were a mess, or like everyone else had it figured out except you. But here's the truth. Nobody starts out knowing everything. The difference between those who thrive and those who struggle isn't talent or luck. It's the decision to show up for their future, even when it's hard, even when they're scared, even when they don't feel ready. And that's the power of Broke Millennial. Erin Lowry didn't just give you permission to get your financial life together. She gave you a roadmap, one that meets you exactly where you are, speaks your language, and reminds you, you are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to start moving forward. So whether your next step is opening a savings account, making that awkward budget chat with your partner, or finally looking at your credit report, you don't need to be perfect. You just have to start. Your future self, they're already thanking you. Now the choice is yours. Make your move. And hey, if this hit home, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe. so others can start building their own badass financial life too. Don't wait. Start now.